Welcome to Dark Horse Workshop, everybody. Today is something a little different. This is more of a craftsperson focused video. I didn't get to do a build video yet of this armor project, but I wanted to make sure that if anybody picked up this pattern on my Patreon or website, available now, that they had all the details they needed in order to complete this. So let's have a look. So right off the top, I only made two significant changes to the pattern after building this armor. The first is I raised the back by a couple of inches. I thought the back needed to be a little taller. And the second change I made on the front and back of this project, I have directly riveted through the top and bottom halves to make a hinge. Now, I actually prefer this more than what I changed it to, but I was worried about structural integrity, people having the right rivets, that kind of stuff. So on the pattern itself, there's a tab on the edge that connects. It's a shorter tab to keep it kind of hinged at that point. It doesn't really need to flex a lot there. Some people don't have all the rivets necessary. This is a 3/16 inch rivet compared to the 1/8 that I have everywhere else. There's a lot of rivets on this project, but I think that's pretty cool. It looks pretty badass. Some of you may notice how I have done these strange straps with the oblong punch through. Obviously, not necessary at all, but kind of cool looking, so that's why I did them. Maybe you don't want your project to be as complicated as mine, just rivet your straps right onto the top, it'll be fine. This is skived down to about 5 ounces to fold and go through here, whereas this itself is like an 8-ounce strap. When thinking about putting this together, remember that you want to rivet all your tabs onto the bottom half of the front and the bottom half of the back first. Imagine riveting this on here and then trying to rivet this on where it's overlapped. You can't access the rivets. It will be a giant fail, so make sure you don't do that. On the pattern, I've left all the tabs long with only one hole. After you've riveted them all onto the bottom, you can line up where you want it to sit. Maybe you want it a little shorter. There is some room for play. And then once you've done that, you can mark, punch, rivet, cut, and everything will line up nice. Another thing to remember is that all my patterns now have SVG files for laser cutters, and the patterns themselves are made in such a way that all the pieces should be able to be cut out on a Creality Falcon 2 Pro, which has got a 16.5 by 16 inch bed size. Now, the straps won't fit on there, the shoulder straps, but everything else will fit on there in parts. Another thing that you need to think about is that when you have nested one piece of leather inside the other, that if you made the holes perfectly line up when the piece was flat, they're not going to line up when it's not flat. This means a couple of things. When you look at my pattern, the top of both the front and the back is wider. Now, does that mean it's going to be perfectly lined up? Not necessarily. So make sure you nest them together, look at how they're sitting, and then make a decision on if you need to make any changes specifically to the outside edge hole placement. All those inner parts are fine, but when you get around to the outside edge, especially if you're doing a direct rivet through like the 3/16 inch I have here, you want to make sure that you're not off on your holes, because this needs to move a bit. That's the whole point. It just needs to move a bit. This isn't anything crazy. It's just having a little bit of movement so that you are more comfortable in your suit of armor. Remember, this is a wax-hardened leather breast and back made specifically with Society for Creative Anachronism Rattan Combat in mind. Obviously, you can use it as a costume piece as well, whatever. But because of that, the piece may be a little more, or a little less, I should say, forgiving when you're riveting those nested parts. If you're making this for costume, hell, you may not even care about the articulation, and you might end up directly riveting your tabs straight through into the breastplate to make a solid piece that just looks cool. We do have our fake scales here on the front. I was trying to decide if I wanted to do some real scales or not. I went for simplicity. Maybe I'll add it to the pattern eventually, a real scale addition that you can do if you want to do it. But for now, I think these do the job just fine. On the back, we've got much of the same stuff going on, but it's the back. Imagine that. We have our oblong punches here that I've slotted the buckle into. I think it looks cool, but again, it might be kind of pointless. Remember I said the back also was extended a couple of inches? While extending the back a couple of inches, I left these buckle placements where they are. When looking at the inside, we've obviously got all the same kind of stuff going on. I would recommend always starting at the middle on your lower and upper lame. Check to see how it's sitting, and then mark your holes appropriately for your tabs. One of the main things to remember is if you are using something like this for combat, is you really don't want the bottom going too far past your belly button. You need to be able to bend and move. This is articulated a bit, so it's got a little extra love, but figure out your overall length from where you want it up near your clavicle to just below your belly button at most, because you want that bend. That's my recommendation. If you're trying to decide, I'm short, but I'm wide, I'm tall, but I'm thin, there is a lot of flexibility with this project. Really, it's all about just extending the back around. I say the back because you want to be able to access your straps and buckles. So you may just have to shift the buckle placement and lengthen the back to get more wrap if you're a larger mammal. As far as the leather choices go on this project, it's about a 12-ounce saddle skirting for the main armor pieces, 5-ounce for anything folded, that would be buckles or the tabs at the front of the chest. We've got 8 ounces for straps, maybe 7 or 8 for these little scales, probably 3 to 4 ounce for the keepers on our buckles, and these little tabs on the back, probably a 5-ounce, honestly. If you didn't know, I've opened up my Discord community to anybody that wants to join it. What does that mean? It means that we've gained about 500 people in that Discord in the last couple of months. Come join it. We're doing contests, giveaways. You can get advice from other craftspeople. It's a lot of fun. Check the description of this video for more information. I've got links to tools and supplies on both Amazon, Lonsdale. I've even got a link to the Rivets Online store where you can pick up brass dome head 1/8 or 3/16 inch peening rivets, all in the description of this video, so go check that out. Hold on a second, before you take off, I've got a full armor build video right here for you. Seems like you're into that kind of stuff. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my content, and until next time, keep on being creative in whatever it is you do.